These are 10 unusual, mysterious locations around the world. Number 10. Danakil Depression, Ethiopia. Located in the aptly named Afar region of Ethiopia, the Danakil Depression is one of the most alien places on Earth, sporting slogans like hottest, lowest, driest. This area seems to be in the beta phase of life. The strange geological features of Danakil attract many brave visitors, but no outsiders can handle the inhospitable climate for too long. Let's explore some of the stranger things found in the area, like the continuously active Valle volcano. It has 2 active lava lakes, one being the longest existing on Earth. It is known locally as the Gateway to Hell. Note, not to be confused with the Door to Hell in Turkmenistan. Which location makes a better entrance to hell? Let me know in the comments below. I'm leaning towards the lava lake. There are also some extreme salt lakes and sulfur hot springs. The Dalo sulfur springs have been of interest to astrobiologists. They believe that studying the microorganisms living in the springs can show us how life can form on other planets. Number 9. Chia Tora. Located in the heart of Georgia, Chia Tora was once a commercially exploitable town that thrived off of local mining industry. In the 50s, it was decided that walking from the city to the mines took way too much time. So the government installed many of these cable car systems. Many of them lead to nowhere. Well, not exactly nowhere. Rather, derelict buildings that no longer operate. Believe it or not, some of these trams are still operational and are being used by residents of the city to this day. I would not be so eager to jump into one of these metal coffins, as the locals call them. The whole city is surrounded by abandoned mines and processing plants, and those cable cars definitely add to the mysterious nature of the city. I imagine not long from now, the town might be completely abandoned, and all that will be left is the random death trap of a cable car. Not too far from the city of Chia Tora, you can find yourself in the Georgian backcountry, staring at the Katski Pillar. On top, you can see a long-forgotten church with a few hermit cells. Hermits are religious people who choose to live in solitude. The structures were built sometime in the 9th century, and because of their great defensive location, they have survived to this day. Number 8. Kali. This mystical formation on the island of Saramea, Estonia, was a mystery for hundreds of years. It wasn't until 1928 that it was conclusively proven that the 9 small holes were indeed meteorite craters. The impact event is believed to have occurred around 1500 BC, and yes, the island was populated at the time. It must have been an insane experience for the local population at the time. The energy released from the blast is comparable to the Hiroshima bomb at some 20 kilotons of TNT. Vegetation within a 4-mile radius was incinerated. Estimates for the time of impact vary wildly, from the aforementioned 3,500 years ago to as much as 7,000 years ago. Kali has prominence in mythology, from Finland all the way down to Greece. People were mesmerized by the event, and through word of mouth, the island became known as the place where the sun went to rest. Oh yeah, there's also evidence of ritualistic sacrifice in the area, since the site was considered to be sacred. Number 7. Devil's Bridge. Deep in the magical forests of Kromlau, Germany, you can find yourself crossing one very unusual bridge. Some locals say that the bridge was actually built by the devil, since it is obviously beyond the scope of human possibilities. Seriously, that's how bridges like this one got their name. If it looked too good to be true, the devil built it. Although this one is my favorite example of a devil bridge, there is some more great examples, like the one passing through the Swiss Alps, or the Italian Ponte de Diavolo. There's also this one found in Bulgaria. If you got a chance to visit one of these devilish bridges, which one would you choose? I think I would have to stick with the perfect circle in Germany. Number 6. Yamal Craters. During a routine trip, helicopter pilots spotted a mysterious hole deep in the Siberian permafrost. Before it was news, a second hole was reported, then a third. At this point, it was not easy to dismiss the curious case of the sinkholes, craters, shafts, whatever you want to call them. By February 2015, a total of 7 craters were reported, and people wanted answers. The first official reports stated that the craters were caused by explosive methane release, a process connected to global warming. But other theories have surfaced as well. The holes were there the whole time. They were just covered by ice plugs. That ice melted, and voila! There is a hole again. The methane in the area is just typical. Unfortunately, the second theory doesn't explain the built-up material around the hole, which is indicative of an explosion and not fast-melting ice. Both theories do have one thing in common: global warming, but that's a subject for a different video. Stranger still, some internet detectives believe that the craters are the result of experimental plasma arc weapon technology. What do you think? Number 5. The Star Pyramid. Also known as Salem Rock, this pyramid in Stirling, Scotland was built in 1863, and it commemorates martyrs seeking religious freedom. During construction, a Bible was entombed in the pyramid, and each side has a Bible made out of marble. There isn't anything too crazy about this place, it's just strange to see a pyramid in a cemetery in Scotland. Number 4. Valley of the Fallen. Valle de los Caidos was built under the orders of the Spanish dictator Francisco Franco. It commemorates and honors the casualties of the Spanish Civil War. The 500-foot cross commands respect from afar and is the centerpiece of the complex. Altogether, it took 18 years for the monument to be built, and it is still surrounded in controversy. It is believed that around 10% of the workers on the project were political prisoners, and that doesn't sit well with, anyone, really. When you look at the aerial view, you can see the abbey. The whole complex is beautiful, but the history behind it has led to its closure for a while. In 1999, the monument was the victim of a terrorist attack by the anti-fascist group Grappo. If you find yourself in Madrid with nothing else to explore, I would suggest checking this place out for sure. Number 3. Vienna Flak Towers. What do you do when you got the Allied air forces bombing your cities? You build some of these insane towers. These were just massive slabs of reinforced concrete and anti-aircraft guns. They also had room for civilians to hide in during air raids. The main flag towers were built in Berlin, Hamburg, and Vienna, with smaller towers scattered around Europe as a whole. It was said that these towers were invulnerable, and it took only 3 to protect the center of Berlin from total destruction. They were one of the last lines of defense, and while the Red Army was taking over Berlin, some 30,000 people were hiding inside one of the flag towers. When the war was over, everyone looked at these towers and collectively said, "What now?" Since it would have been extremely expensive and time-intensive to take them down, most flag towers were repurposed. Number 2. The Skeleton Coast. I know this video has been a bit out there with the content. We have explored some very different places, but this one is very unique. The northern Namibian coast is known under many different names. Portuguese explorers called it the Gates of Hell. Local tribes named it the Land God Made in Anger. The one that stuck out the most was the Skeleton Coast, coined by the writer John Henry Marsh from a book he wrote by the same name. From derelict buildings, hundreds of shipwrecks, and thousands of whale and seal bones, the Skeleton Coast lives up to its name. The farther mainland you go, the more you realize that you're surrounded by nothing but desert. Nowadays, most of the coastline is protected land known as the Skeleton Coast National Park. Most of it is only accessible by plane, and only the southern part is open to four-wheel drive vehicles. In other words, if you find yourself here alone, good luck. Number 1. Le Morne Brabant. Officially known as the Republic of Mauritius, this tiny island nation is found in the Indian Ocean, which holds approximately 20% of the water on Earth's surface. The islands have passed through the hands of a few colonizers. Dutch, French, and the British stayed there until the 60s. Reading into it a bit more, it seems that the UK claimed one of the smaller islands in the archipelago, the Diego Garcia. They got rid of all the locals, closed the island down, and rented it out to the USA, because why not? Well, the truth is, the USA has had an active military base there ever since they got their hands on the land, so it wasn't just because. What else? Oh yeah, one of the most unique aerial views on the planet, the so-called underwater waterfall. Scientists say they can easily explain this one. It's merely sand that's sinking farther into a deeper part of the ocean. Let's ignore the science and just enjoy the optical illusion for once.